But our top focus, delivering the longest ever State of the Union address, US President Donald Trump doubled down on his claim of stopping 8 wars, including military conflict between India and Pakistan last year. Trump said that Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif told him that around 35 million people would have died in India's Operation Sindoor if not for US intervention for a truce. Trump has repeatedly claimed that he stopped 8 wars within the first year of his second term in the White House. He has claimed credit for stopping the India-Pakistan conflict more than 80 times since the 10th of May last year, when he announced on social media that the two neighbors had agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire after talks mediated by the US, a claim made by the US President. India, however, has consistently denied all claims about any third-party intervention during the armed conflict. In May 2025, Delhi has clearly stated that it had not responded to pressure from anyone.
My first 10 months, I ended 8 wars. Cambodia and Thailand, Pakistan and India would have been a nuclear war. 35 million people said the Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died if it were not for my involvement.
Vishnu Som, Senior Managing Editor, NDTV, now joins me live. Vishnu, welcome on Breaking Ground this afternoon. You know, we don't know what the 35 million figure really means when it comes to Donald Trump. Figures and Donald Trump really don't go together very often. But perhaps one of the clearest comments coming in from Donald Trump on what went down last year during the India-Pakistan conflict, something that is now turning out to be a global embarrassment perhaps for the Pakistan Prime Minister.
Well, these numbers have actually vacillated. 35 million potential deaths as a result of Op Sindoor is the largest number that Donald Trump has stated. On the 19th of February, he'd said that he's saved the lives of 25 million people. On the 20th of January this year, he said 10 million people. He said 10 million people on a few previous occasions as well. So the bottom line is, this is the number that he says today. And I think more than the number, the claim that the US president makes repeatedly is that the United States was responsible for bringing an end to Op Sindoor. Now, this is something that India has categorically denied. And it is a matter of fact that on the 10th of May last year, it was the Pakistani Director General of Military Operation who came on the hotline with his Indian counterpart and said that they didn't want to fight. And a couple of hours after that, there was a ceasefire which came into play. Now, in a statement in Parliament in June last year, the Prime Minister actually repeatedly and categorically specified that India had not come under any pressure. He did mention that on the 9th of May last year, remember the fighting started on the 7th of May last year, it ended on the 10th. But on the 9th of May last year, he did receive several phone calls from J.D. Vance, the US Vice President. He wasn't able to take the call at that stage. When he did return the call, J.D. Vance said that Pakistan was looking to actually increase or escalate their scale of attacks on India, to which Prime Minister Modi said that if they were to do that, India would hit them even harder.
Yes.
And if you look at the events of the 10th of May, where the Indian Air Force was operating in taking out Pakistani air bases and sites over there at will, it sort of goes with what India has categorically said. What the Prime Minister says that he told J.D. Vance, it was India that ultimately escalated. But the bottom line is, and I was part of briefings as well, when this entire ceasefire was taking place, at no stage did any official that we speak to ever mention, even in passing, that it was America which was responsible for bringing an end to the fighting between India and Pakistan. Sure, they were talking, by all means, many countries were, but it wasn't Trump who did it.
And it's not the first time we're hearing from Donald Trump claiming that he's the man who ended that conflict. Vishnu Shom, thanks for joining me live. In fact, this is the 80th plus time that we've heard him make a comment on this issue. Now, as part of the State of the Union address, Trump also criticized the USA's Supreme Court decision to block his global tariffs, calling it a very unfortunate ruling. However, Trump did not directly attack the Supreme Court justices in attendance for their recent tariffs ruling. Trump defended his sweeping tariffs on foreign countries, saying those who ripped the US for years are now paying billions of dollars. The Republican leader asserted that the tariffs will replace the modern-day system of income tax, a claim that he had made at the beginning of his second term.
And then just 4 days ago, an unfortunate ruling from the United States Supreme Court. It just came down. It came down. Very unfortunate ruling. But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as president, have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi in plane for a historic visit to Israel at the personal invitation of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The visit marks another milestone in the growing bond harmony between the two leaders and the deepening India-Israel strategic partnership. Now, before departure, Prime Minister Modi said India and Israel share a robust, multifaceted partnership built on trust and innovation, expressing confidence that the visit will further strengthen enduring ties. During his two-day trip, Prime Minister Modi will hold bilateral talks with Netanyahu and also address the Israeli parliament. Aditya Rajkol will be tracking all the developments from Jerusalem for the next 48 hours while the Prime Minister is in Israel. Meanwhile, Israel's Special Envoy on Trade and Innovation discussed India-Israel relations. Take a look.
He is reporting from Jerusalem, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is about to arrive, and joining me right now is Fleur Hassan Noum, who is, of course, the special envoy from the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs for Trade and Innovation. Fleur, thank you very much for joining us here in Jerusalem. You've been the deputy mayor as well. I met you a couple of times in the past, but how interesting and important is this visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Israel?
I actually think it's extremely important and an extremely important time. We could be looking at a new region. The last 2 years have certainly reshaped many of the conceptions that the world had, but it's actually reshaped the region as well. India is a very important partner for Israel, not just, of course, with trade, but in really shared values and shared vision of prosperity. We have a very interesting relationship also through and with the United Arab Emirates. We have a potential trade corridor that we're looking at with the IMEC corridor, which is India, connecting India to the Middle East, connecting the Middle East to Europe through Israel. And there is just so much that we can do together for the joint prosperity of our peoples, but also the region. So it's very exciting that he's coming.
And there's a great rapport between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Yes.
We were expecting Prime Minister Netanyahu will visit India. That couldn't happen. Now Prime Minister Modi is here for the second time after 2017.
Yes.
What do you say about the rapport that helps build this relationship? Because it's not just about trade,
No.
usually. It is also about people-to-people contact. It's about both being victims of terrorism as well and how they relate with each other.
Absolutely. We share a lot of challenges. You have very similar challenges to Israel. And also you have a very similar mindset in terms of hard work, innovation and moving forward. But I agree with you. At the end of the day, it's about chemistry. And Prime Minister Netanyahu and Modi and Prime Minister Modi have an incredible chemistry. They both have also personal political challenges which are similar in many ways. And they've just bonded for many, many years. Everybody remembers the wonderful image of them both going into the sea without shoes and talking about hydropower and alternative green energies. And so we all have that in our heads. And they are both fearless leaders who are not scared of shaking the box for the good of their countries.
My colleague Aditya Rajkol also spoke with Israeli physicist Abraham Mitrani during a drive from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
Well, NDTV is reporting right now from Israel. We are driving from Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion Airport towards Jerusalem. And in a few hours from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be arriving here. You can get a glimpse of, the main highway between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem right behind me. But joining me is Avi, who's a good friend of mine and of India. And just to speak with Avi and get a glimpse of how a common Israeli thinks about India, I brought him here while we are driving. Avi, tell me, Indian Prime Minister is coming here. This is his second visit in the last probably around 8 years. How interesting is this visit? And you've observed the Indians and Israelis coming together. So, what do you feel about this particular visit? Do you think India and Israel should come together more?
I think that closeness between Israel and India is a very good development, and I see this visit in this context. One more step. I'm actually not really sure what the talks between our prime ministers would be about, but the visit itself and the increased visibility of the closeness between the countries is very important. Also because India is on its way to be one of the most important powers in the future decades in the world. So also looking forward for us, it's important. But I think there's something about getting closer, which is like not only interests. There's some affinity. Like I've been in India five times. Many of my friends. We like many aspects of Indian culture and society, so to that,
And Avi, you're a physicist, but you've been also involved in technology.
Yes.
Now we've seen a lot of advent of AI, artificial intelligence, and India just did an AI summit in which more than 30 Israelis participated from government and private sector. Do you think technology is also one of the areas where India and Israel can come together? You know, Israelis are known for their innovation. Not just pen drives, but also water management, agriculture, etc., and use of technology in that. So, do you think one of the areas could be technology where India and Israel could partner?
It has to be. I don't know a lot about water management, but we are experts on that.
Yes.
I'm more in the fields of software and the AI. So, if someone is looking for an AI expert in Bangalore, I'm willing to come.
That's wonderful.
And Aditya Rajkol is joining me live from Jerusalem. Aditya, you've been very busy. Thanks for taking time out for breaking ground at this point. Dosti, diplomacy and defense. Three top issues on the agenda. Dosti, we all know of, the bonhomie between the two leaders that we're seeing on our screens. What should we expect over the next 36 hours?
Well, always ready for breaking ground with Vedika, be it in India or Israel.
I'm glad, Aditya.
But certainly reporting live from Jerusalem, we are waiting for Prime Minister Narendra Modi to land in the next 3 hours or 3 or 4 hours. And then Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, is waiting to welcome him in Tel Aviv. And he would be heading straight to the King David Hotel in Jerusalem, where he would be welcomed by the Indian Jewish community and the Jewish Israeli community here. Hundreds of whom who have lined up at the King David Hotel, again a very historic place here in Jerusalem. And thereafter is the most important part of the day. That is the critical speech of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has been invited to speak at the Israeli Parliament, which is called the Knesset. And this is a very, very rare honor given to very few world leaders. Before this, it was the US President Donald Trump who had addressed the Israeli Parliament just a few months ago. In fact, I remember Vedika 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, I was here when the first Indian head of the state visited Israel. That was President Pranab Mukherjee. I was part of his delegation. And he was also asked to, in fact, speak inside the Knesset. It was a historic moment, but it's a bigger historic moment today that the first Indian Prime Minister is invited to speak at the Knesset, and he'll speak about the broad-based relationship between India and Israel, about technology, AI, water and agriculture partnership. But beyond that, defense, cooperation and security partnership between India and Israel as well. Tomorrow is the big day when the bilateral takes place between Netanyahu and Modi. And we are expecting that the relationship will be taken to the next level. There will be an agreement on security cooperation, but also on other facets of the relationship that will be taken forward. Yesterday, in fact, last night we saw the Israeli parliament, illuminated in tricolor, which is again symbolic in honor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So across Israel, there's a lot of positive momentum when it comes to the Indian Prime Minister's visit. And Israel really appreciates India standing together at a time when the terror attack took place here and all through the tough times and challenges.
Also, before I let you go, India has very recently reaffirmed its support for a two-state solution to the Palestine issue. This visit of Prime Minister Modi comes just days after.
Well, that's right, Vedika. That's been a historic position of India. There's been no change in that. While there's one change that I have noticed, that whenever there was a head of the state visit or any ministerial visit that was happening towards West Asia, towards Israel, there used to be a visit together, both to Israel and Palestine. Now, Indian Prime Minister has changed that policy completely. The strategic partnership of India and Israel has been, in fact, kept separate from the relationship that India enjoys with Palestine. Now, India has helped the people of Palestine relentlessly over the last many decades. There's a lot of humanitarian aid, computers, technology, etc., that we have helped them with. But Israel has also come to the aid of India when it comes to the Kargil war or when it comes to Operation Sindoor. In fact, I remember Vedika meeting the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in August 2025. And when I asked him that was Israeli equipment used during Operation Sindoor, and he said whatever equipment Israel had given to India before Operation Sindoor was used in the Operation Sindoor, and it was a mighty success against Pakistan. That itself clearly speaks of in volumes about the gamut of relationship and the closeness and the partnership between Modi and Netanyahu, India and Israel, and that will be taken to the next level. My last point now the relationship between India and Israel will be taken to another level. It was 35 years of diplomatic cooperation that took to this day, and my sources are telling me that there will be a spatial strategic partnership that will be announced tomorrow when Modi and Netanyahu meet here in Jerusalem.
And at this time tomorrow, we'll talk again. Aditya Rajkol, thanks for joining me live from Jerusalem, and thank you for tracking all the developments taking place ahead of the Prime Minister's arrival in Israel.